We're living in some interesting times, to say the least. So to help you as a small business owner, my team and I put together a series of short, what we hope are helpful and timely videos to help you get through this challenging time. One of our primary goals here at Robert Morris & Company is to support small businesses and their owners so that they can work on their business instead of in their business. And part of that is helping to relieve some of the worry that goes along with times that we're in right now. And we feel that we can do that by providing information. We feel that knowledge truly is power. So here are 6 things that small businesses need to do right now so that they can come out of this, let's call it an interesting time, a bit stronger. So the first thing we want to do is we want to consolidate as many liquid financial resources as possible. And well, what are we talking about here? We want to get cash, and we want to get it now. We want to get cash before we're feeling too desperate. So apply for any state or federal loans that are available. Right now, the SBA is granting disaster assistance loans, and they're fairly easy to apply for. You can go to the SBA website. We have some links on our website if you go to our COVID-19 Action Center. Evaluate your current borrowing base. Where can you get money right now? Get the money while you can, while your numbers look good. Of course, consolidate your cash savings. If you have money pooled in separate small accounts, get them in one account so you can keep track of it. I'm not as crazy about this last one, but it's something you can do. Certainly, if you're a glass is half full kind of person, home equity financing. Before you get emotional about this, and before you get emotional about certain expenses, we want to be pragmatic. So we want to develop what we call a crisis budget. So we want to identify our critical costs, our fixed costs, things that we have to have, like the rent, our utility bill. What are some of our variable costs? Well, if we're manufacturing something to sell, well, those variable costs, we're not going to have them if we're not, actually making the product. So those may go away. So you want to give those some critical thought. And of course, payroll, that's one of the bigger costs for most of our clients. Who's necessary? Who can be laid off? Who do you want to have back later? And certainly contact your bank for a loan deferral. I have a number of clients that have already received an extension of time to pay, 1 month, 2 months, and I think that we'll be seeing some relief from the federal government in this as well. Develop an employment strategy. If you're a nice guy or gal, then sometimes this is not a fun conversation to have, but you got to pick teams. Who's vital, who's non-vital. The main thing that I recommend you do is certainly operate with ethics. Take care of your people. They're taking care of you, but the business has to survive so that these folks can have a job to come back to. So determine who's vital and who's non-vital. It's also a wonderful time too if you have some staff that maybe it's time for them to find another place of employment. You can do some healthy pruning. So look on the bright side. In any case, it's always a good idea to consult with an attorney that specializes in these matters, especially as we think about the FMLA and the new regulations regarding that. We'll have a short video on that for you soon. But you want to talk to an attorney so that you are complying with labor law regarding time tracking, furloughs, layoffs, and asking for your team to do voluntary unpaid time. This is critical. How long is your money going to last? So you have to take into account when you prepare and maintain a cash flow burn rate analysis. You need to take into account many factors. This might seem a little daunting if you're not an accounting nerd, but it really is pretty straightforward. You start out with the cash you have now. Think about your anticipated inflows. Take into account not what you're going to bill, but what you're actually going to receive from your accounts receivable. I would consider reducing the amount that you might receive from your customers a bit, because they're going to be most likely slow to pay. Think about your anticipated outflows. What is absolutely mission critical? And these outflows and inflows should have already been addressed when you prepared your crisis budget. Of course, this will give you your ending cash available. I think I would start by looking at this on a weekly basis and then extrapolate that out so you're looking at it on a monthly or maybe a quarterly basis. I think we need to give ourselves about 3 months for this thing to work itself out. So I think 3 months would be a good time frame. Something else to think about: some of these tools and tips that we're talking about, these aren't just for crisis times. These are things that we should be doing all the time. So when we think about our budgets and our cash flow, we ought to be thinking about a cash flow budget so that we're making the best use of our cash. I'm finding that there's a lot of lessons to be learned in these situations. We just have to look for them. You want to keep track of your qualified loan forgiveness expenses for tax purposes. Keep a spreadsheet of your SBA loan proceeds and the related forgiveness expenses. And last, but certainly not least, during this time of, frankly, it feels much like social isolation as opposed to just distancing. We want to implement our cloud-connected technologies. We've been utilizing these in our practice for some time now, so these are nothing new for us. But it was an easy transition for us to move to video conferencing when we sent all of our employees home last week. We utilize Zoom. It works really well. It's easy. It's used widely, and I think that this is just table stakes now as we look to do business during this time. Consider your internal communications. Zoom has a nice chat feature. Microsoft Teams. Cloud-based accounting systems are almost a must nowadays, or having a hosted environment where your team can log into your file server. We utilize Right Networks. Our entire server is hosted on the cloud. We can work anywhere. I'd rather be in my Florida office right now, but I'm unfortunately stuck here in central Pennsylvania. And in any case, cloud-based accounting is really the wave of the future. We have a number of clients on QuickBooks Online. It's easy to use. You can use it on your phone. Of course, if you like the old-fashioned QuickBooks desktop, you can host that through companies like Right Networks. We have a number of clients that utilize that, as we do. So you want to make sure that no matter what you're using or where you're using it, that you're taking advantage of secure two-factor authentication. This time is ripe for fraud, for cyber criminals to take advantage of you via phishing scams, and perhaps you're duped into downloading something that does a keystroke logger or something like that. Boom, they have your password, they have your logins. The two-factor authentication sends a text or a code to an app on your phone. And so the only way that a criminal could then access your information is if they also had your phone. So make sure that that is part of your plan. Yikes, I didn't realize that we spent so much time on that video. I apologize, but I hope that you did enjoy 6 things that small businesses need to know. Hope you find that helpful. If you have questions as things continue to develop, please visit our website at robertmorriscpa.com. We're posting updates as they're available. God bless. Be well.